Today we are taking a look at the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, a film that is a true childhood memory for many people, including myself. It is one of those films that you remember watching when you were younger and it just stays with you over the years. The movie was released at a really good time, when fantasy and adventure films were extremely popular. Audiences were very interested in the genre, especially since the Lord of the Rings trilogy had been released only a few years earlier and had huge success worldwide. For those of you who may not know the story, the film follows 4 children who discover a magical world called Narnia. According to a prophecy, they are destined to help save Narnia, which at the time is under the control of the White Witch and her forces. The magical world of Narnia is first discovered by Lucy, the youngest of the 4 children. Later on, Edmund finds it as well, and eventually Peter and Susan also enter this world. And the way Lucy first discovers Narnia is still one of the most iconic moments in fantasy films. Walking through a wardrobe and suddenly finding an entirely new magical world on the other side. When it comes to the casting, I think the film did a really good job. Liam Neeson as the voice of Aslan was absolutely perfect. His voice brought a powerful presence and a lot of emotion to the character. The younger cast also did a solid job, especially considering that most of them were not very well-known actors at the time. Interestingly, you do not really see the actors who played Lucy, Edmund, Susan and Peter appearing in many major Hollywood films today, at least not in the films that I have seen over the past few years. There may be a few reasons for that, especially when you look at the later sequels, but that is a discussion for another day. Tilda Swinton as the White Witch was absolutely fantastic. I honestly cannot imagine anyone else playing that role. She brought a cold, almost emotionless presence to the character that made her feel truly threatening and inhuman in a way that worked really well for the story. I have not read the books myself, so I cannot say how accurate the portrayal is, but from a film perspective it worked very well. One thing I also appreciated about the film is that the casting included real dwarves, which is something you do not see as often in modern fantasy films anymore. Another thing worth mentioning is the visual effects. The creatures in the film were created using a combination of practical effects and CGI. Personally, I think this hybrid approach works much better than relying entirely on CGI. In many modern films today, especially some of the Marvel movies, everything feels overly digital, but in Narnia, the creatures feel unique and the effects have actually aged pretty well. And I have to say, Aslan himself looks fantastic. For a film that came out in 2005, the design and visual quality still hold up really well today. When it comes to the big battle near the end of the film, it was enjoyable but not quite as epic as a battle we saw in The Lord of the Rings. That was a little disappointing, especially considering that Walden Media and Walt Disney Pictures were behind the production, which meant the film had a pretty strong budget. The costume design overall was also quite good. The only thing that stood out to me a bit was Peter's shield. I understand the design and where it comes from, but it could have looked a bit stronger and more convincing. As it appears in the film, it looks slightly cheap, almost like something you might find in a discount store. As for the story itself, I think it is told very well. Some parts of the film feel a little rushed, but overall the narrative works and the film moves at a good pace. From what many fans of the books have said, it is also considered a fairly faithful adaptation of the original story, which is something that has become quite rare in modern filmmaking. This is definitely a film I would recommend watching, especially as a family movie. Of course, it depends on the age of the children watching. since there is one darker moment involving Aslan's sacrifice. But aside from that, it is a great fantasy adventure and a very enjoyable film. I also want to mention the ending of the film. The closing song and final moments leave you with a strong emotional feeling and really capture the magic of the world of Narnia. When I was younger, it definitely made me want to see more of this world, and I think the filmmakers did a great job with that final part of the film. And of course, the movie was also a box office success. With a production budget of around $180 million, the film went on to earn over $745 million worldwide, which in my opinion, it definitely deserved. Now when it comes to ratings, I usually find that the critics on Rotten Tomatoes are often off the mark, while audience scores tend to be more accurate. But in this case, I actually agree more with the critic score than the audience score. For me, the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe gets a 7.2 out of 10, especially considering that it holds a special place as one of those memorable childhood films. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick review of the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. If you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content like this in the future.